made before. I made a bounce.
What up?
I made another account. I made another check. The liquor made me forget the amount.
Man, this week I just feel like being saying, hey.
Yo.
What up?
Man, we back.
Finally. D-Boy, what you doing?
Oh, man.
Me?
I missed y'all, man. I missed y'all. We got guests in the building. We got new digs. We in a new season.
Man, it's like...
It's
Nigga,
just
I feel
new.
like I feel like George Jefferson.
Hey,
we
where
been
Weezy
moving
at?
on
I
now.
shit
where
better than
Weezy?
Calvin's, nigga. What you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
like,
man.
This shit's beautiful.
This episode 49. This your boy Antoine the Source.
DJ D-Boy, fresh the charm.
What up with it? 49. Let's get him a
And this
six. What up with
Unspoken
it?
Conversation.
How you doing?
We down one with your boy Flimarachi. He's
Shout
doing
out
some
to Flim.
networking work over there at 2BBC Podcast. Y'all check them out.
Yeah.
We got three lovely, gorgeous ladies in here living their best life in this summer. We ain't gonna say it's no hot girl summer because these grown ass women around here.
They been winning.
You know what I'm
They
saying?
been winning.
It's sizzling though.
It's
here,
hot
you
as
know what
fuck
I'm saying?
summer.
Hey.
That's what it is.
But
shit.
yeah, you know, everybody, we got Adrian, you know, over here from LA. She bi-coastal.
back.
You know, she back.
West Side.
Everybody's a
all
former
she
guest.
need is a Whataburger on LA Crenshaw Boulevard.
That's
Gucci.
right.
She like,
We got Ebony in the building.
Hello.
Hey. And then, you know, we got an old guest because, you know, she's just started fucking with us again, you know.
She stopped fucking with us for a minute.
Hey, you
I don't
know
know why.
We got Ashley in the
I'm
building,
just playing.
Arkansas
I'm just talking
Finest.
shit.
Stop it. I got my invite literally
just
3
talking
hours ago, and I'm here.
Yeah, so do we.
We don't want to be looking up. We don't want to look unprofessional.
No, that's real shit. We called her from the bar. And she said, hell yeah, I'm going to pull up.
That's how
thank
you
you.
know this is real family.
be
Real,
Yeah, she family. Shit.
Hey,
She
you know,
no
only
guest.
real family pull up on you with such short notice.
Well, shit, Adrian, this your second time. Ebony, this your what, fourth? Y'all
man,
all
this
fucking
our fam.
Yeah,
We really
yeah.
appreciate
Ebony
this.
a goddamn co-host at this point. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't lying.
I'm
Y'all should
still.
make her a fixture now.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey.
That's okay.
So yeah, man, you know it's good having everybody back. We took a few weeks off, a couple weeks off to get our mind right, to live, explore, see what the hell was behind the next door. You know what I'm saying?
A
You
lot
like
of
that bar.
bullshit.
You know what I'm saying? So everybody going around the table, just, you know, we got a couple birthdays that's been celebrated in the last month or so. You know, just everybody go around the table and just say,
My
you
shit
know,
ain't
how
till
you-
August, but it's coming. Leo season.
Get ready.
I think Leo season start what, next week? Shit, Leo's in the building.
Listen,
man.
don't
But I just been
don't
living
short
life.
the cancers, okay?
Man.
It ain't your time yet.
All y'all badass summer babies. Everybody born in the summer was a troubled child.
But now everything been
So,
good, man. You know, the last couple of weeks off, you know, we've been doing what we do as a collective unit, you know, as separate.
Man, it's crazy because
Entities.
I think cancers have moves like
What you
The
been
way-
doing though the last
Yeah, we
couple
gotta
of
let you,
so
nigga.
many.
Yeah, we gotta know what I said. What I've been doing.
You know what I'm saying?
It's your turn.
What you been up to?
What you been doing the last
weeks?
couple of
shit.
weeks?
You said summer?
The
No,
last,
the last
Last
couple weeks.
couple
bro.
weeks.
Man, working.
Right.
Shit, we
No.
out.
Womp womp.
But
Nigga wanna-
no,
wanna
no,
let us
no,
in.
all right.
He don't want
So,
us behind the
I
veil.
mean, working in different time zones can really fuck your whole like you wouldn't even give a fuck about time if you work in different time zones. Time doesn't even matter. You just need to be up at when you need to be up.
Right.
So
Mark is good for them goddamn text messages at
Right.
5:30.
hey,
I'm
but
like,
no, you
why
know
is
what?
my
Then
phone
no,
going?
no.
How the fuck you text me before my alarm go off?
Hey,
Now I can't go back
I'm
to sleep.
balancing it from corporate America and my culture because this is my culture. So I
But nigga, I don't
love.
want to be a part of your culture before seven.
Before 7, I don't want to be a part of your culture.
But you get the same energy though.
But do you sleep?
Hey, either I'm at the corporate America being a slave, or I'm in the culture
But
being a
what that
slave.
got to
Either
do
way
with
it
you?
go.
What that got
Hey,
to do with you
Wait,
texting
what-
me?
what-
Why are
Man,
y'all still
5:30
sleeping with the sound on your phone though?
Hey,
Why is
man.
your
No,
ring
I
on?
need an
Nah,
alarm.
I get a-
Question.
it's a waste
Your
of life
alarm
for
will
me.
still
Yeah,
go
I
off.
got seven-
I got 7 younger brothers.
Yeah.
I never
You can
know
catch
when I'm
me.
needed.
You can catch me at 2 a.m.
My
You can
phone
look
on
to
do
it.
not disturb
I
from
got
10
little
p.m. to
ones, so-
7
From random
a.m.
numbers.
Yes.
Yes.
7.
You know, because
Mine's is at
I've
4.
slept
Yeah.
through tragedy before. I say never again. So
But see, I got little ones, so I need a ring.
No.
I don't
This
know
guy
what
slept
you're
through
thinking
2 tragedies.
Hey, yeah,
I'm
I
sorry.
did. I saw
And
That nigga put
Yeah,
2
I see-
T's in
Yeah,
there.
So you know
Two.
about a month ago when we had that big like hurricane or tornado or whatever that was coming.
Where? Here?
Yeah,
the hurricane?
it happened in Dallas.
That made the
And
crane fall.
Yeah,
Our
that was
windstorm.
that's about a
That
month
shit
ago.
was like
Windstorm.
0.8 miles from me.
Right.
I woke up, it was sunny. Everybody was like, "You okay?" I'm like, "What the fuck going on?" Like, they like, man, man, you good? I'm like, man, what are you talking
Right.
about? Everybody like, I go on Twitter, everybody like in distress. I'm waking up like
He waking up happy.
He coming back. He coming back.
I walk to the window like, man, what the fuck everybody talking about? This look like a lovely day.
It was nice afterwards.
It was real nice. I
was
just had a
very
pool
bright.
party after that shit.
But I honestly
beautiful.
believe
I did a pool party like 30 minutes after this shit.
Yeah.
I promised to
Welcome to Texas.
Yeah.
Right after that, it
That
was
is
sunny
Texas.
and nice. I'm like, what the?
You know,
was
but you
beautiful.
know what's
That's
crazy
weird.
about that? I really think Mother Nature is trolling us at this point. You know what I'm saying? It just be like, gotcha, bitch. You know what I'm saying?
But we still need to. Y'all didn't escape. We still need to know what y'all did the last 2 weeks.
No, but you know, we just had to. We finished with him though.
Yeah,
'cause, you
yeah,
know,
we done.
he almost.
He was about to go
got-
somewhere else.
I ain't doing shit.
Hey, you know,
hey,
church pension, nigga.
Only thing I can say is,
Nigga, I'm over at church pension.
Just hey, be on the coming of our Unspoken coming with a mobile app. So just be on the lookout for that.
nice.
So you know what I'm saying. Everything else is just. It's just, hey, we've been in the lab. I've been in the lab. So, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, that
Been
nigga been in
the
his
lab.
bag this
He
week.
be in
I
that
told
shit.
that nigga, you been in your bag this week.
But that's the
bro.
thing. When he do text us at 5 a.m., it's
He
some
knows
real shit. So you can't get mad. You're like, this
It's
motherfucker.
thought.
Okay, all right. Okay, you doing it? All right.
Right.
But you walk
But
the
you
hell
know,
away.
I mean, and
Proceed.
but listen though, that's why I think that like I wish you know I can be in a group chat with intelligent people like us that can just respond. Like one thing that inspired me the last couple of weeks is I'm approaching my 20th, and we just started one collaboration group chat last Monday. It went from 4 people to 180 people in a week.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It just show you the dynamic of and go back to like I'm a real millennial. We are the first millennial motherfucker. I'm proud of
that
you
shit?
saying bridging, but
Extremely.
no. What I'm saying is graduating
Hey,
from 2000, we was
took
the
the world
millennial
to the next
class,
level.
and how we think different. It just feel good that we still naturally believe in a collaborative environment. And it
Nice.
just go to
Lovely.
what we building now.
So,
Adrian.
so
your last
Adrian,
2
you just
weeks
had a
now.
birthday, so you turned up in LA on your birthday
Well,
weekend.
I
know.
survived 3 earthquakes in 2
Yeah.
days.
I seen your post with the first one. Hey, I seen your post with the
Hey,
first
yeah,
one.
you know,
How
take
the
us
fuck
through
is
that.
that?
You know, we down here in the Flatlands.
Well, it was 4th of July, and I was getting
Never
ready
get one.
It was 4th of July. I was getting ready to go work out, so I was in my bathroom, like putting my hair up, and I thought maybe I just bent over too quickly because I got kind of dizzy, and then I heard the mirror next to
Come
my
on, Ed.
bed.
We ain't that
fall.
old. Ed. Come on.
No, listen, the mirror next to my bed fell, and it was leaned up against the wall, so I knew something was going on because it shouldn't have fallen like that. And then my roommate came out, and she was
So
like,
you didn't feel it like? You didn't
not
feel the shock?
that one. Not that one.
Which
but
one
then
did
there
you
was
feel
one.
and you was like, oh shit, this is it?
I'm going
That
back
was
to
the
Dallas.
one.
I'm moving back to
The
Dallas.
next day.
So there was one at like, I don't know what, like 11 o'clock in the morning. Then there was one at 4 o'clock the next morning, the morning of the 5th. I felt that one. I was in bed. And then at like 8 p.m. on the 5th, I was in my car in a parking lot.
Oh hell no!
In my car.
Once again,
that was
I
the
would've hit
big,
3 cars.
That was that big one that came after the main one on the 4th.
Mother Nature
Yeah,
is
it
trolling
was
us. Like
crazy.
y'all think this shit is a game. Like it is snowing and goddamn like it's snowing in Houston in April. You know what I'm saying?
I can hear my mama now. Boy, you better get in church. He coming back.
I guess
the rapture.
Get right.
The rapture.
You start thinking for real, like, man, I gotta get together like a go bag. I went and bought a
It
pack
make
of
you
water, some bread, and some peanut
You can
butter,
do
some
the-
non-perishable.
You did.
I gassed my car.
My mama
so
still
serious,
got potty meat from 1999.
I was
When
that
ready.
2000
I was
shit
ready
in,
to get in
my
my
mama still
car.
got potty
I was
meat.
ready to get in my car and drive back to Texas.
Salty
I'm not
and
even
precious.
kidding.
you just felt Texas was gonna be all right.
Well, yeah. I mean,
What if you would have drove in and ran right into a tornado?
Hey, you
I'd
around
rather
that
tornado than
time,
earthquake.
around that
Hey,
time,
you used to-
it
no,
was
but you
fair
used
game.
to it though, right?
Around that time,
I've
you
never
could
been in
have.
a tornado. It's
Well, no,
only
really, I would
in
rather an
Dallas.
earthquake than a tornado.
So when I first
it's
moved
quick.
here,
tornado come
when I
crash
first
shit.
moved here, I was in a tornado. And then the fascinating thing about Texas, and especially Dallas, it's so flat. You can see where a tornado finna form.
But
like,
you normally know
Especially
when they're
in Fort
coming.
Worth.
You never know when an earthquake is
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
It'll
that
come
shit.
out of
That
Well,
shit will
tornado,
fuck
you
me up.
will know when it's coming. Yeah. I mean,
That
you
shit will
will,
fuck
you
me
will.
up, man. So
Yeah.
Mother Nature.
And they're
last
saying,
2
they're
weeks.
saying we're overdue for a really big one too.
Hey, don't
So.
put that in there.
that was shocking
No,
that
that's
it
just-
happened 2 days
Don't put
in
that
a
in
row.
there. Don't put that in the atmosphere.
It's
Don't do
already
that.
been put in the atmosphere.
But
we
didn't
gonna
they
pray
say
on.
California was gonna fall off into the?
Yeah,
Now,
y'all
I
gonna be
did,
your
Melissa,
own
I did
island.
Google that.
They did
and
say
said
that.
that cannot happen.
What if California
We're not gonna
is
be here when it happens.
its own island? That'll be
Yeah,
dope.
we're gonna be
We
there.
gonna be
and
here.
gone. Yeah, we're gonna be there.
That'll be dope. Y'all
You know,
already
play
live your own
tectonics. I
world.
do remember that.
I don't
want to
be here for it.
Play tectonics.
I don't want to
You know the
witness it.
shift, and you know what I'm saying.
No.
The
That would be-
shift,
I sink your battleship.
the infrastructure.
Yeah.
you know
That's
what I'm
Dr.
saying?
Tank right
The
there.
core,
Dr. Tank.
You know, nigga, hey,
Shout out to Spider for the first time
What up,
in the new
Spider?
building.
You all right?
Spider got a
He
mic.
trying to have his nighttime voice on.
Hell, yeah.
Like
he ain't
midnight,
low.
that midnight caller
He
voice.
ain't low.
Yeah, he tried to.
You know,
This is Spider
you know how
on the
we
ones and twos. Who
Rudy
you
V,
holding
the
right
fucking
now?
midnight
Who is
hour.
holding you?
Y'all remember Rudy V? I know y'all remember Rudy V. Welcome to the
No,
Quiet Storm.
man, so
Ev,
Ebony,
your last 2
What was
weeks.
going on with you?
Oh
last 2 weeks?
man, last 2 weeks working. We done signed some contract for a partnership that we're going to be announcing in a couple of
Booked
weeks.
and busy.
Oh, salute.
Yeah, it's been blessings after blessings.
That's what's up.
New hair color.
You deserve
you
it.
know,
You deserve it.
Hey,
I called her Chiquita. I thought she was a Puerto Rican. I was like, but
hey, real hot girl
Thank
shit.
you know I said that before we got on the elevator.
no, we're not gonna do the hot no. But wait, let me tell you.
Hot woman in the building.
Yeah. Oh, it was.
Hey, hold on. You know what? Hey, we gotta.
It was
Hey,
dark.
if y'all want to be a hot girl sometimes, because we want to be a bad boy, y'all can be hot girls.
Nah, bro.
No, I choose not to.
Church pants.
Yeah, I'm knocking on 40.
So church prince. Church prince.
Ebony, no, but you know, so
It can be a minute.
with everything that's been going on with you, you know, 2 weeks, you know, also the summer is fast, you know, it's
Man.
quickly coming to a
Wedding
School
close.
is
season.
about to start.
Wedding
I know
season. I
y'all
know you in the
Oh,
company
that
busy.
too.
I
That
know the
too.
company
Have,
busy, right?
have y'all
We got our New Year's Eve gig already.
actually,
So.
Ebony, have y'all amenities going up like the grocery bill, the light
yeah.
bill, and all that shit
Summertime,
going
hell
up?
yeah.
'Cause I know my mom used to cuss me out for
Yep.
nothing in the summer.
Yep.
Just,
So-
nothing, just come home irritable.
Right.
I just bought this box of cereal.
Right. So
I
my,
just bought this box of
Nigga be
cereal.
scared. Nigga be scared to goddamn
Yes.
pour extra cereal. That bitch like, man, putting 4 out the box. Like,
well, my
Anthony,
kids,
So she know
I
how
have
it
a
is.
great, like I got
It
a
ain't
great
changed.
co-parenting. Like my ex-husband,
That's what's
he
up.
takes
That's
the
what's up.
girls in June, and then my mom always wants the girls in Nebraska, so I fly them up
what's
there. So they're in Nebraska now. So I don't
Oh,
really
so you
feel
can
that
really be a hot girl
of
if you
summer.
wanted to this summer.
Once again,
If you
I'm
wanted
about
to.
to
Real hot
have
girl.
a
If you want to
junior
be.
in high school. I am about to be 40. I
Who
have
gives a damn?
several
Who gives a
companies
shit
that's
about that?
being
Ain't
built.
Ain't
I
nobody
have
count.
a-
Ain't nobody
Who
put
put
the
an
numbers
age?
no more.
I have a
Who put an
profile.
age gap on
Said
this
ain't nobody
goddamn
I got a
lifestyle?
profile to maintain.
Nobody count
Hey,
ages.
hey,
This a
all-
40-year-old hot girl.
Nobody.
We've come to the conclusion. Hey, once Aisha Curry watered it down, it was fair game.
And
man.
we was gonna talk
Right.
about
So-
that. But first,
so-
we got to see what you've been doing, Ashley. Let's go and get
Yes.
that out
because
there
you know,
for the
every
last
time
2
I
weeks.
look up, you got a new goddamn endeavor.
Damn, how many you got?
Oh, so what is
You know,
You gotta
what
hustle.
I'm gonna let her tell us what the
you
new
got going
endeavor
on?
is.
Well, you guys know I have the tax company. I
Wow.
do taxes year round.
Good to know.
Thank you. I have a commercial and residential cleaning company that has launched, and we are up and running. We are
Awesome.
taking clients on commercial and residential.
You hear that
right
right?
now, we have a lot of Airbnb clients. So,
Nice.
you know, if you guys need your homes clean, offices clean, Spider, if you have any need for us,
Spider.
Tell them.
Spider. Spider got quiet about Spider.
he's just looking.
So what's going on here? Basically, it's some grown people business. You
Absolutely.
know,
Yeah.
the grown channel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you in Dallas for that little nugget. You know, my 2 weeks, you know, have been very social in a way.
Yeah, what the fuck was it? Yeah,
Nigga, I have
I
been
forgot
off
you
the
ain't
earth.
talking about your
I have
TV.
been off the earth being a social butterfly.
Off the earth.
Motherfucker, pretty much.
Sometimes
like,
it's good to do that. Though.
I've woke up needing Pedialyte several days the last 2 weeks.
Sometimes you got to.
I've seen your story.
You gotta throw that,
Hey.
you gotta throw that BC
Torn
powder
in
in
the
there
city.
too.
My
The BC
legs-
powder
Torn
is a
in the city.
My
lifesaver.
legs have
Before,
woken up with aches.
You
and
done taught me
pains.
that.
You say your legs what?
I've woken up with scratches on my car.
You getting
Ain't
older,
no
nigga.
got there. You know
What
what I mean?
scratches on
I
your
fucked my
car?
car up trying to park.
Oh, I done been there.
I know age limit on that
was
shit.
thinking
I done
something
been
else.
there.
It ain't no age limit on that
I make
shit.
it all the way
Front
home.
end.
That's the
So,
that's the worst.
You scratch your
feeling
shit
to
up
make
in your own garage.
all the way home
feel you.
and to fuck your shit up at your goddamn residence. You know what I'm
But
saying?
that's the best place for you to
On the
do it.
garage.
But
Now you
like,
gotta
I
pull
didn't-
out and park somewhere
I
else.
didn't move through all the transgressions,
Mm-hmm.
all the potential issues. I get home, fuck shit up. I looked at that goddamn car about 15 minutes.
But you got comfortable when you got on. That's why you
I couldn't even
scratched it
sleep
up.
good that night because I knew when I sobered up, I was going to have to deal with the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, man, fuck everybody that goddamn made the building. Fuck everybody that made the garage.
Yeah, I'm mad at everybody.
Because all I needed to do was go one more fucking
And I'd have been good.
Would've been
Now you
good.
got to file a claim.
But when you're lazy,
Right.
niggas do shit like that. You
You
know
gonna
what I'm
say
saying?
somebody hit you?
I'm
Hell yeah, you better.
It's on. This is.
I mean, shit.
Y'all
Insurance
talking
companies
about
are
it
great.
now, so they can easily come back and as an
We ain't that
adjuster.
famous yet. Geico ain't fucking with you. You know what I'm saying?
They be
you
like,
got Geico?
oh,
We ain't that famous yet.
You
Geico
have
ain't
a-
fucking with us yet.
You have a
know what I'm saying?
podcast.
Geico,
Let's
bro?
listen.
I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna say
Hey,
nothing.
but you know when they make you call in and say this is Antoine, this is my statement. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But I be mad when I do that.
Voice
though.
recognition, like a motherfucker, like wait, hold up. You know what I'm saying? Like, but no, once that happened, then you know, goddamn well, you know that mean we being watched. Everybody had the face app going on.
Everybody do. I didn't do it.
I
I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And
My
I'm not
daughter
gonna
just
do it.
told me.
I'm
my
already
daughter
old.
just told
I'm
me.
not gonna do
like,
that.
I'm not gonna add years.
I want to do
But if
it.
you're on Facebook,
That's a Russian
I'm not
app.
laughing at you. I'm laughing at what you
a
said.
Russian
No,
app?
it is.
Yes,
Like,
the company's based in
Yes,
St.
I'm
Petersburg.
telling you, man.
What?
and they can do whatever the fuck they want to.
no.
I didn't do that shit. I ain't done it.
I can't do it.
I posted the Boots and Flavor Flav shit.
But you know,
I did
but a
post
friend
that.
of mine made a really good point. He was like,
If you're
people
on
are
Facebook-
so worried about,
so I
you
know.
know, their image being captured. Like, how of the people that are so concerned, how many of y'all really
What they
have
want with
stuff
my
They're,
going on?
they're
What
already
they
all
want
over
my shit?
Facebook
Like,
and Instagram
My shit
anyway.
basic as
that's
fuck.
my point. And did you read the privacy
Exactly.
before you click to sign up for Facebook or click to sign up?
Hey.
for
No,
Instagram?
you just wanted to look like an
But
old
y'all already know
Snapchat.
Facebook done already tapped into a lot of people's shit.
Oh, what's his
I
name?
mean,
Mike Zuckerberg.
Yeah,
Mark
he
Zuckerberg.
done,
Just,
he done got
just don't
sued
use my
3 or 4
face as a Nigerian smuggler or some shit like that. You know, niggas just use your face
They'll
as
pull
a
up on you,
goddamn
knock on your door,
profile.
and be like, "Hey, you, nah, nigga, that's you. Come
But
on,
man,
come with us."
and so honestly, like it's a lot been going on. You know, we touched on what we've gotten into the last 2 weeks. I also wanted to touch on what's been going on in the culture. So first of all, Lion King came out last night.
And I
Simba.
saw it.
Simba.
And I
You
sang.
did not say not one goddamn thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Go
ain't
on
seen it
to
yet.
tomorrow.
I ain't seen the news.
All I'm
yet.
gonna say
I
is
can't wait.
this is for us.
I can't wait.
They should have left their
Parents-
kids at home.
parents-
Leave your kids at home.
I'm gonna just put this out there right now. Your 9-year-old's not gonna appreciate Simba, Mufasa, and Scar.
Yeah, see, they got to be at least like
Nah.
13.
These kids cried.
Oh.
There was
So-
tears
I
so
need
shed
to
in
be
the
able to
same
see it
impact.
for
They got the
myself
same impact.
first.
Hold on. Antoine, finish it.
No, I was gonna say I need to be able to see it myself first because kids are into. So I need to be able to cry in my own tears when Mufasa falls off the cliff
When he falls.
in live action.
And Simba trying to wake him
Like
up.
in live action. 'Cause
is-
I cried a third tear in animation. So I know when I see the shit in live action.
But
Oh, you're gonna be moved.
Man,
I'm like you. I want to see it.
Yeah.
I want to see live action before I
cannot
see it
wait.
with my son because, I don't want to see.
Are you gonna shed that tear?
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead,
want to
give
go
him-
and shed that tear before because he gonna look at me like,
Hey,
ooh,
man,
he gonna
don't
look at
cry.
me like, Daddy.
You raising your son.
You know how I
man,
raise
don't
my
cry.
son. He be like,
Man,
"Damn,
don't cry.
but
I tell him,
I
men
don't
don't
want
do
him to
this
see
certain
me
shit.
crying over a dead lion. You know what I'm saying? Your son will question
Man,
you forever.
dude,
like, what the fuck
dude.
was this nigga going
Nigga, Daddy,
through?
you
Man,
tell
my
me to take the
cat, my
trash
cat
out.
wakes
You
me
was
up
crying
every
on Sunday.
morning with that soft ass voice of his.
Dad.
Like, nigga, it's
Dad.
3:30.
And then when he rubbed his head up under his lips,
He laid underneath
Yeah,
him.
they
Oh, I
like.
lost it.
Yeah.
I lost it.
cried.
Oh, God.
It's gonna be so sad. I know.
Oh, I cried.
Let me get a shot.
Yeah.
Oh, you cried?
I cried. I sang. I sang "Circle of Life." I sang. I can't wait to be king.
How was the vocal?
Hakuna
Did they
Matata.
out- Jason Weaver.
My
Did-
vocals were great.
I even seen it in theater.
And
at the Fair
Beyonce,
Park.
people like to say Beyonce can't act. I was pleased with Beyonce.
the
as
voice.
Lila.
Yeah, I think that's a
Voiceover.
little
It
bit.
I mean,
doesn't-
she ain't no
it doesn't
goddamn,
matter.
she ain't no goddamn Angela Bassett.
We're not gonna goddamn say anything about
I
Beyonce.
know you from Houston.
Because
I'm sorry.
you're not about to have
The
Toy
baby.
Just like you ain't gonna say nothing about Erykah
Hey,
Badu. Just you ain't just like you ain't gonna say nothing about Badu.
We ain't got on no Badu.
You would never get on.
It's the Beehive is a whole nother thing.
No, Beehive will pull up on nigga.
That's
pull up
why
at your job.
we ain't even got on yet to be.
Y'all would have to
famous.
have Unspoken Conversations page
You ain't
private.
lying. We had to get the goddamn security guard.
So if a nigga put a goddamn Bumblebee under my shit, it's fades on site. It's fades on
You let
site.
them hands go?
On site. You know what I'm saying? Like nigga. But now, like, so Ashley,
The movie was good.
did you go watch it at a black theater or a white theater?
Okay.
Hey, that's
What's the
key.
difference?
Source.
Right.
That is key.
Wait.
That is
So let
key.
me tell you, because I'm going back to see it on Sunday. So I watched it in Euless. No. I'm lying. I watched it at Tinseltown Grapevine.
Okay.
You good at Grapevine. You good.
Okay. So that's where I went to watch it at. It was not a lot of people talking or anything like that, but kids were crying. Specifically, there was a kid behind us.
Like really crying?
When
Like an
Mufasa-
ass whoop cry or just, Mom, is he dead?
No, wait, no.
Is it real, Mom?
When Mufasa,
Dead.
not Mufasa, when
Simba.
no, what's his
Scar.
name?
Scar.
When Scar stepped on Mufasa's hands and then caused him to fall.
See, I haven't seen it in so
So-
long.
The
And
little
like,
boy
no,
was
I remember
like,
that
Mom,
shit.
I
So-
don't like
so
this.
That's up there with
I'ma
Rick.
Hold on.
God.
Go on and finish your experience.
He was like, Mom, I don't like this. I don't like it. I don't like it. And then he just bust out crying. Then the girl next to my friend girl, because I left my kids at home. They couldn't go with
Like
me
a real
today.
nigga?
They can't even go Sunday. I'm going to take them next week, you know. But
they ain't been asking like why we ain't going to this movie.
oh, I had already told them like
But that's really
as
shit, we
soon
ain't
as
going
the
to prison.
previews started coming out on Amazon on the Fire Stick, I was like, listen, this movie y'all will not
And it's
see
ready on the Fire Stick. It's ready.
until a week
It's
after.
ready.
Don't
The
put
shit
that
I got
shit
is
out
ready.
there.
No.
It's ready.
Well, people watched it last week.
Hey, we're not gonna speak
the
on
one I
bootleg.
But no, they have
Yeah, we
previews.
are.
No, we're not gonna speak on bootleg movies on the air right now.
Fuck it. I canceled my cable 4 months ago.
Hey, hey, bro. Hey, I might have a warrant or two. You know what I'm saying?
Stop.
So, it is not on me.
It ain't gonna be for cable though.
It's not on me. You know what I'm saying? So
But it's commercials on the actual Fire Stick,
Oh, yeah.
not on your
It is
bootleg
now
part.
on cinema.
So I
it's
was
actual
telling the
commercial
kids,
now, yeah.
you know, y'all can't watch that. So when I go to the movies, don't be like, why you didn't take me? Because y'all are not going until next week. But we were singing in the theater,
Y'all snuck some liquor in
clapping
there?
at the
Y'all
end.
was singing in the theater.
No.
So was a lot of people singing with y'all in the theater? That wasn't Grapevine.
you ain't sneak a
That was
flask in
Grapevine.
there?
That was goddamn 635
It was
Web
Tinseltown
Chapel.
Grapevine.
I can see that being Grapevine.
Lion King is universal.
Oh yeah.
Well, I didn't
You know
even
what I'm
see any
talking
black people in that theater. But white people know the song. too.
Right,
it's
it's
universal.
See, I'm thinking of All Eyes on Me. I'm
you-
sorry.
it's
And then
I'm
it's
thinking of one of our movies.
It's
My
a
bad.
new
I'm thinking of one
Mulan
of our
coming
movies. I'm
out,
sorry.
so
I'm thinking of one of
I
our
will
movies.
say
Really,
this though, you know, I got 3 movie that literally rock me to the core every time I see them.
Oh, that's a good
So let me
question.
listen.
What are the top three?
So we're gonna go around and say what are the
Let
top
me start.
3. You know, we're gonna go around and say what are the top 3 movie that shook you
Made
to
you
the
cry.
core?
I ain't gonna lie. I really don't cry on movies. I don't, but I will say this. When They See Us, part 4, the shit that Corey Wise went through, I shed a tear. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Thug.
Hold on,
That shit
hold on,
hurt
hold
me
on,
to my
hold
No,
on.
no, let him finish. Let him finish.
That shit
When
hurt
I
me
see
to
it,
my core.
What are we counting as a movie?
No,
No, we
movie,
talk about all
anything you've
anything
seen
that
on-
you've
Alright.
ever seen, whether it be
Alright.
real,
Okay.
documentary, whether it
Okay.
be fake, fiction, whatever.
Okay.
Part 4 of When They See Us,
And that has
the
to
shit
be-
that Corey Wise went through, that shit,
Okay, that's number 1.
that fucked me up. That's
he was just a friend,
Cause,
right?
no, cause we doing our top
He
3.
was the
We
one
doing
that
3.
went
So what's
to
up the 2?
supported three.
I really can't. I mean, that's why I was saying I really don't. I mean, movies don't really.
I got my
Movies
3
don't really-
already.
I
Let me
didn't
see
All right,
the
what's your
top-
3?
Let me cop it off. All right.
They don't.
So first,
You cry a lot.
in,
that's
Ain't nothing
hey,
wrong with that.
in
Ain't nothing
private,
wrong with
in
that.
private, I could be in my
Y'all
feelings.
is not them hot girls
wait,
looking
but
for them
no.
crying niggas.
No, so first is Lion King. The reason is Lion King
Damn.
because of the pain that Scar looked at that not Scar that Mufasa looked at Scar with when he knew like he was about to drop him.
Like my,
Nigga, you
like
just
my
gave-
brother.
He
Like,
called
you
his
got
name
this
3
guy.
times.
Like to die at the hands of your brother. I don't give a fuck if it's animation or not. I took it further. I took it to the human element.
This shit
once I
real.
got grown. You know what I'm saying? Ricky and Boys in the Hood, bro.
That shit hurt.
But when I
yeah.
got grown,
Yeah.
it wasn't even about Ricky, bro. It was about the fact that his son and his baby mama, like, you gotta think he was the hope. So when you watch things as a kid and then you watch them grown, like the meaning kind of gets a little
It's different, yeah.
You know, I'm like, fuck. You know what I'm saying? The third, y'all can fucking talk about me all you want.
Of course not.
But
I'm gonna let you finish, but I did just think about one.
but hardball.
You took it.
Hold on,
You
what
took
part?
mine.
Hold on, what part?
Oh, whenever the
There's
picture
only
died,
one. It
whenever
was
the picture
G-
got
it
killed.
was G-Baby.
G-Baby.
But so you know what though? When I watched 12 Years a Slave,
wait,
whenever
hold
they
on.
whooped, what's the name like
Come on,
that?
man. Like,
No, I'm saying I just thought.
no, because you about to, because
that fucked me up.
Well, it was unexpected. It just
Yeah.
it came out of nowhere,
G-Baby
and
did.
them kids were just
and
trying
then
to
it
play
was like
baseball.
one little bullet wound. You be like,
And I love when they call me Big Papa was my shit.
you be like,
He's
man,
striking
get,
everybody.
you be like,
Yeah.
get up, man, like, and like, bro, it fucked me up when people die with their eyes open.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that make it even harder because you know what I'm saying. And so, and honorable mention, you know, I'm gonna add an honorable mention.
Oh, shit.
Is when Kane died. But right before he moved to Atlanta, I
Yep.
feel like if Kane had
Nigga,
got
they was
that,
packing up the truck.
He would have been
if he had got that
crazy.
Atlanta, he
Right.
would have been good.
Yep.
Stupid.
So that's mine, man. You know.
But when Lupita
Man.
did get tied to that tree and get whooped,
That's
that fucked
crazy.
me. I could never watch that movie again. I mean,
That-
on some
that
real
is
shit.
a
That is a
On some
one
real
and done.
shit.
That's a
That
one and
was
done.
I've never
that was
seen
rough for
it.
me to watch.
Yeah, I don't watch Roots.
Yeah, whenever
that.
12 Years a Slave, when they tied to that tree and
Oh.
that fucked me.
Yeah,
up.
they made him watch.
But crying?
That fucked me up.
Nah, I think.
So-
I think.
So I'm saying, I wasn't balling, but I
No,
was
we
like,
gonna get some
damn.
structure.
I think-
we gonna get some structure. So we just gonna go around and you just gonna say,
we
got
gonna
that.
put that on right
No,
there.
no.
Oh, and put that on right
come
there.
on, just so,
I was just joking.
like yeah. So
No.
So
Well,
we gonna let. So since she has her, Adrian has hers. Adrian, you gonna
Well, you took two of my three.
okay?
But I got
Add
two
your
more.
context.
I got a third
Okay.
and one and an honorable mention. So my third is Selena.
that was sad.
Yeah, that was.
She throw that they throw the rose onto this boohoo every single time. Like I have never seen that movie before.
You know, Ann grew up with her.
And you know what? To not know Selena and thinking that Jennifer Lopez was Selena,
Wow.
I felt the same movie because it came on HBO like every day I got out of school. Like it was like, who is this person? They was like, it's
I was pushing it
Selena.
on
I
you.
remember
And she's
when
big in
well,
Texas.
'cause, yeah, she was from Texas.
Your honorable
I remember
Corpus
when she
Christi.
died. Yeah.
And so your honorable mention.
I hate that actress that plays Yolanda Saldivar.
Right.
to
Oh, because
this
she was so
day.
goddamn creepy.
What?
Man,
was
she
creepy
played
as
that
hell,
role
bro.
way
Well.
too well.
What movie?
But you know,
Yeah,
Ant that
bro.
you went to school with, my boy Anthony Shelton. He grew
Yeah.
up, his cousin was the only black singer in her group.
Oh,
He-
wow.
And you know, Anthony's from Corpus Christi.
Did not know
They
that.
lived on the same street. He said
That's
when she
crazy.
died, you couldn't even get on that street for 2 weeks because
I
they had so
believe
many
it.
bears and so many.
I believe
They
it.
still do
That
things
was
for her to this day. They still.
Hey,
do things
people
for her.
sleep on her.
And I think she's
impact,
out of
so-
jail.
Oh,
Is she
bro,
out of?
her-
Is she out of prison?
So her impact was.
No.
No.
I think she's been up for parole, and I think they
Yeah,
denied
yeah.
it.
Because
I
I
don't think she'll
thought
ever
that
get
it was a
out.
She don't
lady.
get out.
It was a lady that looked just like her in Jonathan's. The diner. Let me tell you what I was sitting
You
in
damn near shot the
Jonathan's.
face.
I was like,
You
right.
like, bitch.
I was sitting in Jonathan's with my friend,
I
and
know that ain't. I know that
my
ain't.
friend, because she came in with a Hispanic guy, and they sat in the corner like they didn't want her to be bothered, and so she kept looking around like. I was like, "Are you okay?" She was like, "Selena's mother."
This is for Selena.
I was like,
Viva la, viva la.
said,
When you hear a motherfucker say viva la,
Funny,
anything after that gonna be
Bro,
bad.
hey, climb over the table on that bitch.
You hear a motherfucker say viva la,
literally,
it's gonna
we
be
had
bad.
to look it
I don't
up.
call women bitches, but I
And
call her
apparently,
bitch. You know what I'm saying?
either a parole date was coming up or it was really close. And I was like, girl, maybe she got
Yeah.
early parole.
No, I
she
think
might
she's,
have.
It might be
always
her.
been
It's been like-
denied.
it's
She's
been
always
like
been
fucking 20
denied.
years.
It's been a
Yeah.
minute.
She better be
25
denied,
years.
bro.
It's been like
Like,
25 years.
and then she ain't gonna make it a solid month on. I don't think she gonna make it a solid month.
But
if
this
she got
lady
out.
looks too much like I wouldn't.
That's
That's
say
like if we
It might
knew.
have been her.
That's like if
she
we
looks
knew who killed
the
Tupac.
little
If
short
we-
haircut,
yeah.
everything.
So it was a little short, chubby.
It was a little short, roly-poly lady.
That's funny.
You know, in
with a floral
there.
shirt
That
on,
is
some
crazy.
polyester pants, probably. That's what the fit was in
Pointy
every
toe.
scene.
Hispanic.
Then
that
she
pointy
went
toe
floral
That
shirt.
really was a sad story. Like
It was.
watching the movie.
It was really
Why-
unfortunate.
like-
She was a predator. She used her. It was just really, really sad.
And be the people closest to you.
Yes.
But-
You know, speaking of Hispanic tragedies, you know, another one that got to me was La Bamba. I don't even know. I never heard a song of him. I just know,
Yeah.
you know, when you watch when you have regular TV growing up, you watch random ass shit.
Yeah.
And I just know he died and I was like, he's gonna get his mom and crazy
like
ass
him
brother
and
out the
3 of
hood,
them,
and you know he making it, and then he died on a plane crash. So that and Cochise, ain't nobody said Cochise, but
I was about to say Cooley High, but y'all, I'm a little bit younger.
no, yeah.
I mean, a little bit older.
I've never seen Cooley
You
High.
never seen Cooley? Cochise was a motherfucker. When Cochise
Man.
got killed.
you over 30
I
and you've never seen
respect
Cooley
all
How your
y'all.
parents
I
felt you.
respect all of those, but man, I mean, I think the whole topic was like, what made you guys cry? And nobody.
I'm not really a crier, bro.
like
That
what
shit
movie?
really-
The Notebook, man.
oh my God!
You
when
know
they
he
got
like
together.
rom-coms, but that ain't even
I don't think I've ever seen
Like,
that.
That movie,
And
like,
I've never seen
they're
that.
kid-
Like,
they're
the
kids.
ending
Yeah.
of that movie to realize, like, if you watched it the first time, like, what is this movie? And then you watching, like, man, why is she reminiscing? She's like, tell me more. And she's like, well, I went down this. It was storytelling. And then at the end, she was like, I remember for 1 minute. And then she went back to, and it was like, that's
And
something
their
that we
kids tried to get him to leave her there so that he could. You know, they're like, we want to spend time with you, and he was like, that's the love of my life.
and for
Like, I
him to be
can't-
like, man, that's my dog, that's my girl. Y'all can live, y'all like we raised you. You know what I'm saying? Go on about your life with your kids, but,
But
I'm
I'ma
gonna
stay
sit right
here.
here
Yeah.
because this is what I was here to serve. And I think that movie right there was hands down crying. I think
my honorable mention was Jack Dawson in Titanic.
Oh, Titanic.
Because he could have lived, man.
I like.
He
I
could
He
have.
didn't have to
Titanic.
die.
He could have
He
lived.
didn't
That
have
shit
to
didn't
die.
make me really
Titanic.
cry.
Bro, I'm just gonna say this, you know, cause what you was about to say about that?
Man on Fire, when Denzel had to give his life.
What?
That girl, Man on Fire.
That's
Man,
a,
that was
that's a
one-
good
That's
one.
one of my favorite movies of all time.
That's
When
real-
Denzel
when he
had
started
to give
walking,
his life
that little
he was
girl.
greasy.
I still don't know what he walking for.
What's your three?
Man,
Why
that
what's
was,
your three? Not you.
I don't
Oh
know.
shit! I don't even know. I cry at bad movies, so the Flintstones is probably number one
What?
because I cried and then I walked out.
Yikes.
I cried because I wasn't. They didn't give me my money back. I don't. Yeah, I don't really cry in movies.
I cried on Waiting to Exhale.
So you a thug?
Hey, I hate it. I do. I
Yeah.
agree. I hated the first part of Waiting to Exhale, the divorce part.
I really did.
And Precious.
I really did cry.
Oh,
I
Precious
seen Precious
was-
once. I never seen Wait
That's
Till
another one and done. I never have to
Hold on,
see that.
Precious was the one that was always
With
fine. And also-
Monique.
Yeah.
With Monique.
Yeah.
I cried.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm sensitive as fuck now that I think about it, bro.
That's okay.
Because
We knew.
She said it's okay, nigga. She trying to warm you up. She trying to soften you
man,
up.
you
Angela,
know,
don't do
'cause
it.
it's a few movies, you know what I'm saying, like that.
I don't really. I mean,
That I just,
What
you
else
know.
comes
instead of
to
tear on
mind?
some documentary type shit.
Well,
but
I ain't
the
gonna
movie,
lie. I was clutching my chest for the first episode of When They See Us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
while we're on When They See
That
Us,
shit was real, man.
and while we're on When They See Us, shout out to Ava DuVernay, all
Yes.
the people.
Yeah.
And
That
who
great
has the
production.
Emmy? And several Emmy
She
nominations.
has,
Niecy Nash is up
Well,
for like.
I think
well,
Jarrell
it's
Jerome,
Niecy
like an Emmy.
Nash,
Is she up
the
for applause?
youngest.
Niecy Nash is up for an
Jarrell
Emmy.
Jerome,
Whoever was the youngest.
the youngest.
He
I wish
played
I could
that.
know the
He
name.
has
The
the-
guy who was the younger boy, he's up for.
Oh, the one
it.
with
It's
the black eye?
14
Niecy
nominations.
Nash is up for supporting actor.
That's amazing.
And like they lead Netflix and with the most nominations. And
Yeah.
honestly,
That's a good thing.
like I was just gonna say, it was just great the fact that it got the attention it got because
Absolutely,
there's
yeah.
been
Well,
documentaries put out about it, but it's finally got the traction to where the everyday common consumer was actually watching it. Because once you see something that is broken records, it draws you in. You're like, what is everybody hyped about?
And it's a great way
And it
you
was so-
said that. It's just like how she's able to bring out the art of a broken record, if that makes sense. Like everybody's is preaching the same
shit makes
thing,
sense.
but she's able to put it in the front viewer's eyes of this is really happening. This what happened. This is the truth. and we need to fix this. And I respect that. I never watched that show on Netflix because I don't want to cry. I don't want to feel mad. I don't want to grab a gun.
That
I don't
shit
want to
made
kill
me
nobody.
You know what's
mad.
I think
crazy
you
about
should
him
watch it,
saying?
though.
You know
I
what's
was
crazy
ang-
about him
I was
saying that
legitimately
though?
angry.
All the records that it broke for viewership for Netflix, and there are so many people that still haven't seen it.
Yeah, I'm
They
not
don't want
watching
to.
it.
I'm one of
Still
them.
They don't
not
want to.
seen
And I
it.
was one of those. I was like,
haven't.
I'm not gonna watch it.
I haven't
But
seen
I had
it
a day
yet.
off. I was like, you know what? I watched all
haven't.
4 in one day, and that shit.
But it was a lot of people who
It was a
couldn't
topic
get
of
past certain
conversation.
parts.
They
It was
couldn't
like,
get a lot of people couldn't get past episode 1.
that first
Yeah.
episode really like
And the
had-
last
first episode, I
episode
was
is
like,
what will
I
take
watched
you.
half of it, and I
Yeah.
turned it off, and I haven't went back.
But if you have children, and I feel like if you are parents, you need to watch it.
Yeah.
Specifically, if you're raising
Teenagers.
young
So-
men.
Yeah.
You need to watch it because these
Teenagers,
are conversations that you
Man,
need to
and
have
what's
with
so
your
sad-
kids.
You guys brought up a good question because I want to know how y'all accepting Euphoria. I think that's the new movie.
I love it. It's
You
a
talking about the show on
HBO.
Yeah,
I told you I watched that shit.
Amazing.
Euphoria is
So
dope.
let's table it first. You know, so
Euphoria is dope.
transitioning into that new content. You know, there's a lot of new things that have come through. Euphoria starting Zendaya, who I feel like is stepping up into her grown role, trying to shed that, you know,
That
Disney
Disney.
branding. It's executive produced by Drake and his manager, Abel Future, not the rapper. And so, I you know, honestly, I didn't even know. I found it on accident. So I want to, you know, hear from you all, especially the mothers, if you've watched it, because I've heard it has a lot of similarities of what the struggles and challenges of kids are today. You know what I mean? So, have you watched it?
I haven't watched it. I've only seen.
I don't think it's all
clips.
kids. I think it's in certain pockets.
Well, no, it's not all kids. What I'm saying is it shows you some of the struggles
yeah.
that are potentially
Yeah.
on the rise.
Teenagers.
Adrian,
Yeah, teenagers.
what are your views on that? You know,
I'm just glad we didn't have social media when we were in
You
high
ain't
school.
lying.
Like, it's
I
a completely
agree.
different
You ain't lying.
generation,
Man,
and
100%.
I'm so glad
it
we did.
contributes to a lot of the issues that they
They go
have to
through.
deal with, the things that they go through, and then just the drugs and the alcohol and just the access that they have to certain things. And I think she's doing a great job, you know, portraying someone with an addiction.
She
It was
really
really-
got
It's
a
very
hot,
the show is very in your face,
and she got
though.
a
It
hot
does not
summer.
hold
Like
back.
Zendaya,
If she
like
doesn't
for
get
her,
an award for this, it's a trap.
honestly, so I want to stick on the show real quick. What I noticed about the show and what caught my attention from the first episode was how well she played the role of someone addicted, because it literally had you feeling for her in a personal way, like damn. And I was mad at her for you know, lying on the drug test with her parent, because I'm like, if your ass you don't want to help yourself, like when somebody takes you down that emotional roller coaster, you kind of feel like, you know what, this is actually something I can get into. It's like that's how I felt when I first watched Power. You know, like you take me down the road and I want to follow along. So, Don, you seen it?
You talking about Euphoria?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Euphoria.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
caught up on it.
Yeah,
I can't wait till Sunday night so I can watch
I have it
Yeah.
on my watch list. It's a lot of
It's
things
great.
that I'm
It's a
watching.
good
That
show.
watch it with your daughter.
I'm emotionally it's too many shows right now that
No, you
have
can't
me
watch it with your daughter. They
emotionally.
show
See, my
penises.
23-year-old.
Up and down.
My 23-year-old.
They show penises on there.
That-
like often.
Oh yeah,
And
it's
they be-
full frontal.
But to kind of
No, no homo,
piggyback
they be little.
on what you said, well, specifically what she said, the challenges with raising kids now.
Absolutely.
We're not raising, I know it's several different ages in the room, but we're not raising kids like our parents was raising kids. Our kids are
Totally
not
different now.
going, for the people that have kids, our kids are not going through the things that we went through.
Hell no.
I call my
a
child
good point.
being a mean girl. Like
checking
her
her.
and her little crew. Specifically, my daughter moved from Arkansas to here, so she had to go into a setting where she didn't have any friends. Well, thankfully, she clicked with some girls. Specifically, one is her best friend now, and they started off with a group of 10 girls. Well, being a parent, we already know that that's gonna kind of dwindle down.
That pack mentality.
So they go from elementary into junior high. Junior high here is 7th and 8th grade. Well, junior high for me was
6th through 8th.
in Arkansas during my time. Junior high was specifically just 7th grade.
Oh, shit.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
ours was a 6th through 8th.
Then 8th grade and 9th grade was at a different building. well, 7th grade was considered middle school. Then 8th and 9th was considered junior high. Then 10th, 11th, 12th was at the high school, which I actually like it like that because I don't believe 9th graders should be at a high school.
Right.
They should. For several different reasons. Right. If you got an 18-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you know, we already know how to
You
go.
was fresh on the motherfucking me line.
But
in high school as a freshman.
But she goes to junior high, and then she makes all of the sporting events. She's on all of these teams. She's popular. Thankfully, you know, she don't have any insecurity issues or anything like that right now.
And that's big.
But it's some girls that weren't as popular that she was friends with in elementary school, and they kind of like shunned them. And I was like, well, what happened to so-and-so, so-and-so? Why they don't come over anymore? And she's like, oh, she's not cool.
Wow.
Well, why are you cool?
How does that make you feel?
Who are you?
How does that make you feel as a parent, though? Because you kind of like...
It make you mad.
I don't know, because I sit there and start asking questions.
Yeah.
I'm the parent. They know when I ask everybody questions. I go through phones. Right. And it was conversations to where, well, so-and-so doesn't like you because her other friend doesn't like you and you can't sit with us. And I'm like, okay, well, that's what we're not going to do because nobody's cool. Y'all are little broke little friends.
Right.
You know?
Y'all literally
Ashley,
have
nothing.
You have nothing.
Ashley, you can't be replying to do that.
I'm pretty sure she said it just like that.
The kids know that I don't play that.
Right.
I don't play that at all. So I started calling parents. Like, hey, has your kid said anything about my child? Has my child been mean to your kid? Because I will start taking shoes.
You got to get ahead of it.
You think you cool?
We're
going to go buy some kids.
You got to. I mean, I'm the same
back in the day, kids was the shit, too. That tell you how goddamn bougie these kids
I'm the same parent. When it comes to my kids, I'm a slap ignorant fool. And I have zero understanding.
But I
will pull you from
I have zero understanding.
I think I've been talking about this. We talked about this on the podcast. So, you know, I'm a 82 specifically, baby.
Yikes.
And yeah,
AARP is near.
Hey, it's gonna be good.
Shade like a mother.
But what I'm saying is, we have these bridge and generations, and I think, nigga,
she shot a shot, nigga.
Continue. You're seasoned.
No. What I'm saying is, we have these bridge and generations, and I think like I'm one of the bridges between, you know, the past generations and the millennials. Like I can relate to Dunny. I can relate to you guys.
D-boy.
But we D-boy. I'm sorry, sir. But
do not say my name.
I think
no government.
Like the thing what you were just explaining though, Ashley, was you finna relate to these new generations. And they gonna eventually get it because like some people mistaking these new generations as these new millennials. Nah, like not all millennials.
These are new breed of kids.
These are like Generation X, and they ain't discovered who these newer ones are.
No, they're Generation Z. My daughter sent a presentation to me a couple of days ago. She's
Generation
11,
Z, them motherfuckers
and she
is
told me,
dangerous.
she said, "Mom, me and Micaiah, we're Generation Z."
And you see how long it takes them
like,
to
she
discover who they are. So now they Z's say part of Kodak Black.
Damn, what Kodak?
Now you gotta relate them to somebody else different.
But no, I'm saying
no, because them people from Florida.
My daughter hates Kodak Black.
People from Florida different.
What I'm saying
we
is,
ain't gotta go that far.
Yeah, we ain't gotta go to Kodak Black.
You're talking about damn near teenagers at that point. It's a whole generation after that.
Right,
I got a brother that's 26.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like they're on the precipice of.
He's on the bridge of millennials to Z's.
No, they're on the precipice of true adulthood.
Yeah.
And so I literally had a conversation with him today about that next step. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times that transition is the hardest one to make. From the early 20s to the late 20s.
Male and female, or
period.
Both.
Because it's you got to think it's almost an identity crisis in a way. Because as 30 comes, we have this sight about what 30 is supposed to be, what we're supposed to accomplish at 30, and so you start looking towards the horizons more versus the day to day. Like when you get to about 28, you're like, okay, I know I'm still out here in these streets, but I need to kind of start scaling back.
Some do.
Your progress.
Well, most do.
It's all a mind frame.
I think
It's all a mind frame. It's all individual. It's your environment. It's your upbringing. It's your morals. It's your values. But everybody is at a different level at a different time.
But also, but it's certain things though that you can't run from. Like you got to think when you realize I've been out of school out of high school for 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Like
you celebrating your 10 year this year?
Bro, I've been out of
I'm about to say, nigga, you've been way out of 10 years.
Like so.
I'm like
I feel like honestly, it's just from my experience. I know what I felt. I know what my brother's feeling now, because we talked about that, and I saw the switch where you feel like I need to make something shake. As a man, I know that's a struggle for us, because you get into an age where like I should be able to start carrying not only my weight but potentially somebody else's weight, and somebody else's weight after that. Exactly. And so and that's when I started actually putting more pressure on myself to be a little more. And I think you grind more. Yep. You grind more. You're not satisfied. Even if you got, I'm not in a rush to get to happy hour as fast if I know I got shit to close out here. Absolutely. And because I know shit at a certain point in time when I was in my early 20s, I was just trying to get to the clock. You know what I mean? But then you get a certain standard of job where it's not, or you're not just working a certain amount of time. Yeah. You're working until the shit is done. You got to get the fucking job. So the responsibilities increase. Right. The risk increase, but also the conversations and the correspondence and the networks of people, because when you're 28, you get to know people that's 32, 33, 34. And so it's like I have to scale up a little bit in my mindset. Because you meet some motherfuckers that's 5, 6 years older than you. You meet some motherfuckers who like 4 years older than you, and they doing the same shit that you doing. You like, nah, I don't want to be this.
I was gonna say it's different.
I don't want to be this nigga when I'm 40. When I'm 45, I got to do more to be. You do look at that. This nigga. You do. We doing the same shit. He's 6 years older than me. You look at stagnation. Exactly. You pay attention to stagnant people.
And that's why I be like, that's why I look at how you identify that you the bridge of different generations. Because you looking at the older generation like, nah, I don't want to be that. You looking at your own and be like, yeah, that ain't what I want to do. Really generation. But you got the same time to look at the younger generation and be like, what would be best for them? You see what I'm saying? It's like 3 different ways. And when you start and listen, I can say bridge. It's just in your own world, in your own mind. When you start thinking that level, you start levelizing where you are in this space of realm. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you start realizing, oh, okay, I can look this way, I can look that way. Okay, it makes sense right now. Like, not saying that it gonna always make sense, but it does make sense right now because you know where you stand. And so lean on pretty much like looking at the what you say as far as observing where you are versus where you need to be. If anybody got any insight on, we're in the social media age. And so so Instagram has played with the idea of taking away the likes. The likes. And I feel like that would change a lot. Because you gotta think we're in a clout chaser. Really? But Kanye said that shit and y'all thought he was crazy. Man, we're not gonna talk about that, Kanye. Bro. But source, what you saying? I think if they take away the likes. I want to hear one of them talk about this because, you know, the insight, especially with you being in entertainment, a lot of people that's driven off the numbers. You know, when you go to a potential suitor or a potential investor or somebody who's looking to invest in your talent, the first thing they're looking at is the metrics. Yeah, they're looking at your numbers, they're looking at your followers. It's gonna be a lot of sad people out there. That's the unfortunate thing, that some people put so much of their self-worth and value into those likes. Especially the influencers. But I think with the likes, it's gonna be like when you take the likes away from it, it's gonna stop a lot of the bullshit. Because a lot of people do a lot of shit to get likes. Terrible idea. But she was looking at it from a level. She was looking at it from what are they really gauging it when they level set and say, hey, the likes, we not looking at the likes. So now this is what we look at. No, but I wanted you to touch on that because it's gonna impact business a certain level of people, because you have people that have agreements or contracts with people if they get a certain amount of likes on. So it's like those contracts are going to go away. It's going to be a shift. Social media has changed the face of advertising and the face of business. You know, there are I've heard people talk about there are people that have gotten jobs not off of qualification, and I'm not saying regular jobs. I'm talking about like modeling or entertainment jobs solely off of how many followers they have and how many likes that they're getting. Not because they're the best person for the job or the project, but because
They
to
have
the
reach.
brand, they've got the reach,
They have reach.
and that's what it's all
So
about.
do you
when
think
you're
that's the reason why they're
advertising.
going away from the likes though? I don't think that's
No, it's
They're
not
going away
about
from the
that.
likes because of people.
I think it's a lot of the negative
It's
shit.
bullying. It's bullying
Exactly,
and
and that's my point.
self-consciousness and
That's why
kids.
they going
Well,
away from that.
specifically, because it's not even the adults.
Yeah.
I mean, the adults do
Right,
do a lot of stuff,
Yeah,
clout
absolutely.
chasing.
They do.
But it's the young kids.
I think it's the young.
our
I
children.
think it's the negative shit. Like
It's
I
a
was saying,
foundation.
I saw a
It's-
grown
that's the
ass
reason they're
man.
going away from that because all the negative shit.
Last-
Because most
No, yeah.
negative shit gets the most likes.
Well, it's not that. It's not that specifically. But
Is it
say
a
if my
foundation of
daughter,
they-
say if
of,
my
like,
daughter goes and
encouragement?
posts something, and she only gets 5 likes. Well, if her homegirl goes and posts the same thing,
Then they get 100.
And they
and
get
she
more.
gets
I get
100
it.
likes,
I
It
get
makes
it.
her
here goes
feel
my
like,
child
yep.
feeling like, oh, I'm less than or
Yep.
something like that. So I think social media, or specifically Instagram, is kind of leaning towards that because we have kids killing themselves.
Exactly.
Y'all really don't well, I'm not saying specifically y'all, but people really don't understand the rate that 9 to 14, that age group, they're killing themselves because of the self-consciousness or not getting attention or feeling like they're less than. And it's specifically because of social media and the bullying and all of that. So I think that's more so of Instagram's attempt.
Attempt. I think it's a case study that they want to do.
That is a use case. It is a use case that it makes sense. But at the same time, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, where do we come? Where do we go? Where, like, we gotta tell them rattle, but no. But when we gotta tell them, like, man, this is this virtual reality, because that's what we grew up on. It was virtual reality. All of what we do right now, to me, it's like I went from playing Nintendo to Sony to now I can it's everywhere.
Well, it goes back to the parents and educating, the kids in regards to you can't be on social media. My girls are not on any type of social media. Like, no, your mind can't.
But is that
your mind can't
but Ebony,
register
let me
it.
ask you.
I have an 11-year-old and I have a soon-to-be 16-year-old.
But Ebony, is that creating a thirst?
But no,
Is that
my
like
kids ain't on
creating
that
a
shit
thirst?
either. I don't allow my kids to
And
have
she
that
only
shit.
has like
At all.
my soon-to-be 16-year-old. She got like 2 posts because she's like, Mom, this is so stupid.
But-
she
but-
thinks it's like the dumbest thing ever.
But when you live in like,
Oh, but she do sell snacks at school, so she posts her, her snacks. Like,
What is
she-
going on
but-
with that? My kids sell snacks at school.
girl.
that's the hustle.
That's a hustle shit.
Forever.
When they graduate
That's
from
a
high
hustle.
school, buy them a vending
But we ain't got
machine. Buy
CDs
them
no
several
more.
vending machines
Yeah,
and like
CDs
put them
back
in.
then, so
Put them up.
3 for $5, man.
Yeah.
Might be a little cloudy, but nigga, you
$1 each. $1 each.
Taki's going for $1.50.
What?
Oh,
But say, bro,
Takis is $2 in Louisville.
I don't mean to just cut because this is all good content, but we really have to talk about. Jermaine Dupri came out and
What-
as far as a female artist,
Let's lead into it. So,
because I was trying to
kind of going back,
segue.
kind of going back into. So we talked about social media,
Right,
the power of social media,
right,
and how our social media adds so much fuel to the fire.
no doubt.
And so, let's stay on that subject.
Yeah.
And
And
Jermaine Dupri.
So he
No,
came
was
out.
lagged.
He said,
Put context to it first.
right. So
He was in.
I love my women in see.
He was on. No, he was on interview. He was on interview.
He was on the interview. He wasn't saying anything, bad. You know how the press will take what you say and.
No, they just
I ain't
asked him
gonna
a
say
question.
they flipped it.
No,
but
all they did was ask him a question.
right.
And he answered it, but
He answered it in a true state because he is a producer. He creates hits. And he, he's one of them producers who is like, I'm a perfectionist. So when they asked him about female rappers, I don't think he was saying all females, but he was like in the limelight. What we hear on the
big
radio,
three.
what we hear, what's in our face. They talking about stripping. They talking about, coming here, coming there, whatever. So what are y'all? I mean,
Can I go first?
I guess
on this?
we
this
wanna
is
hear
for the
from
ladies, man. This is for the ladies. So we all
Jermaine.
know
That's
there
all I
are
wanna
dope.
say about Jermaine.
There
not
are
the women.
dope female artists. Rhapsody to me is, I ain't just gonna put her in a female. Rhapsody just is a lyricist, female and male, dope. But in the limelight, we see the Cardi B's, we see the we see
Megan
the Megan Thee
Thee
Stallions,
Megan.
we see the City Girls, we see they talking about this, that, and this. How do y'all feel about his comment saying, "Well, damn, what we see in the limelight, all they talking about is strip club and doing this and doing that."
Fuck niggas.
Do y'all
with
think
money.
that is
That's what
wrong
it
or
sounds
right
like.
or?
Now tie this in with generations.
No.
Well, no, it ain't got nothing to do with
I don't wanna
generations.
go to
I
generations.
Yeah,
don't
they got
think it's
nothing to do with
generations. So I think we were having a sidebar conversation at the
Right.
beginning about it, and I did not hear the whole interview. So I only heard that snippet, which I think the media is really good for
They blow shit up.
taking, this a little
What's
bit.
gonna be
And that's why I
hot
led it with
Bam.
that. That's why I led
This
with
is
that.
what we're gonna
Right.
put out here. So
Absolutely.
the way it sounded was, okay, these new age rappers, all of they're talking about is, stripping, shaking their ass, and my pussy good, and
Right.
this, that, and the third. And I felt like that's not all that they talk about. Like if you listen to go listen to a whole album. Yeah, Cardi B talks about, shaking her ass, her pussy good.
Right.
But they also talking about getting some money.
So be careful.
It's their story.
I like
It's
to-
their story.
I like to double back to because what we were talking about, because like I said, I didn't hear the entire interview. Lil' Kim and Foxy Brown, that's all they talked about.
True.
Yep.
Is they
It was their
pussy
story.
and shaking their ass. And so if this is, and I love Cardi. I think she's very transparent. I think she's real. I'm not gonna get into the setting people up and all of that part,
Yeah.
but
That's a
I
legend.
listen to her.
That's
I
a
like
legend.
Megan.
Right.
Megan to me.
Oh, Megan go hard.
I love
Megan got bars. Megan got
Megan
bars.
from Houston, and I like the flowing on the UGK, beats and stuff like that. I like her. I think they're actually different. I don't put Cardi and Megan, in the same category. And I don't think that they only talk about shaking their ass.
But I'm saying, I think
Everybody's looking
my
at-
question
Because
is, do you
if y'all
feel-
gonna say that, let's talk about the dudes.
I want to say
let's
something
take-
from Jermaine Dupri's
No.
perspective.
But
Yeah,
we
yeah,
gotta
yeah.
lead-
We just talking
gotta
about his
lead to that.
perspective.
We
Yeah,
got to
we
lead
just-
to that.
yeah,
So the
exactly.
perspective, though, was they literally led him into speaking about the three men.
Exactly.
Who's in the limelight right now? Most men, we're going to admit, are not
But-
going to sit there.
You got three. You got City Girls.
Most men are not going to
Cardi
sit there
B,
and listen to an entire City Girls,
Album.
No.
Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, or Nicki Minaj album. Their singles are normally going to speak about those topics because it's just like a dude. I'm going to get the 808s. I'm going to get the beat. I'm going to get the content you want, but you can be able to repeat the shit. You know what I'm saying? And so I can listen to those to music, but also it's like we asked women to give, because at the end of the day, it's a business. Tierra Whack, Rhapsody, Tink, a lot of spitting bars.
Dope.
Rhapsody
Yeah,
and Tierra
yeah.
Whack have been up for.
Rhapsody is dope.
They,
as
they
fuck.
actually were up for Grammys. The average fan hasn't heard of them because they're not pushing out what sells or what moves the needle.
And bro, I understand.
Well,
I understand where y'all
I
going
don't
with
know.
this, but my perspective with
I
Jermaine
don't know,
Dupri
so
is
I got a
my
question
perspective
there.
with Jermaine Dupri is, and it just go back like, bro, you have all the power to change the narrative.
No, he don't.
Yes,
No,
he
don't.
does.
Not
man.
no more. He don't.
Yes,
No,
he
no,
does.
don't.
Yes, he
Jermaine
does.
Dupri, no, he don't.
Jermaine
No.
Dupri does not have
I'm not
like
shitting on
all-
Jermaine Dupri.
no,
How
No,
many
without no
artists-
disrespect.
we not-
No,
Hold on, no
no,
disrespect to-
no. I'm saying this is the point is like you a producer.
He can't
You
change
can
the
you
narrative
got
right now, man.
A&Rs where you can find talent to create your narrative.
Bro,
of what
Jermaine
you wanna
Dupri
see.
is not.
That's
He
not
is
what the
not a
people wanna
producer
hear.
like.
No.
Okay, I ain't gonna say he's not a producer like he was. He's still dope.
He
but
doesn't
as far
have
as
that juice.
He don't have that juice no
I don't
more.
think I don't think other
Especially in the
I don't think
hip-hop
other
realm, he don't have that
top
no more.
producers in his tier would
He don't have
come
that-
in it the way he did.
But no,
Bro,
he don't have
y'all
that.
looking at production is not matter. It's all about the marketing and the
sells.
brand.
It's about the marketing.
It's about the marketing
It's about
and
what
branding.
sells. It's about
If that
what
was-
sells.
So you looking at it from a perspective of talent. It's about branding. Are you looking at like that's when if you look at how Travis Scott and Megan Thee Stallion rolled out their albums when they had the events to show like this is my album opening, like it's about the branding. You looking at it from a talent perspective. It ain't about the talent anymore. It's about a branding perspective.
Because you can go back to.
Because if you
That's
think
what
about it, like you
Like,
said,
he doesn't have
hey,
the
like you
juice
said
to
about
do
the
that.
talent.
'Cause he's played with trying to grow artists
Hey.
the last 10 years. That's
like,
what he does.
Like you said about the talent, the
He doesn't
motherfuckers who
catch.
really have the talent, they ain't in the forefront.
It's
They're
about
really
branding. It's
like you say the Travis Scott's and the
I-
because Meg Thee Stallion shit
Like,
can go.
So I'm so that's all good points. So is he really shooting at what the
He wasn't
industry-
shooting
at anybody.
no,
He
I'm being
wasn't
real with
shooting
you
at
because
nobody. He
because
answered
the end
the
of the day is
He wasn't
it's
shooting at
A&Rs that's pushing his content. And
Well,
they
yeah,
have the power. So is he like, hey, this is what we pushing, and it's more talent out
I
there?
mean, but the
Most
record labels been having that
most
power.
A&Rs will tell you pretty
They been
much to
having
put
that
it out
power.
there, and the fans will determine what is hot.
record labels.
Am I wrong or am I right?
No.
Nah, that's a
I'm
good,
a,
that's
no.
a great
Wait.
Because that's
I'm
a
gonna
great
piggyback
point.
off what you're saying.
Most people don't.
Source, you are saying something that's absolutely right. It's about what is selling. These motherfucking record labels and these A&Rs. It ain't about I'm hot like this. No, it's about what's gonna sell.
When you sign with a label now, you're a finished product. They don't want anybody.
Why you think so many people going independent?
That
now?
goes back to the social media thing.
Ain't nobody
a lot of
signing
these
labels.
artists that
Yeah.
started on MySpace and all that kind, they came with a following. Those are the
Yeah.
people
That's what
who
they
they
expect.
were willing to put money behind versus trying to put money.
And if you
into
think
to
about it,
build your fan base.
the rappers who did come in 2006, 8 up till probably 13 that fell on that gimmick, you don't hear from them no more.
Right.
Like all these ones that was jumping in
No. That's
the
I mean,
Roscoe
no.
Dashes and these motherfuckers who
All the great-
Oh, I totally forgot about him.
And that's my point. But no,
We had a Roscoe Dash
Ashley,
mention on
Hey.
You know what?
Wait.
Antoine, and that's why I wanted to get at. Like when y'all talk layers with Jermaine Dupri, now it's thinking like, is he really? Is his comments, was it towards the women or was the women?
He asked him a question.
they asked him a question. He answered.
Because no, it's been an epidemic of what the A&Rs push.
We're not gonna go.
But no, we're not going that deep.
They asked him a question.
He asked him about female rappers and their
But they cut
portrayal.
out the reason why it blew up the way that it blew up, like we were talking about, was because they didn't give the full interview. They didn't give
They
what
led
led
him
up
to
to
it.
it.
They took
They led
bits and
him to
pieces of
that.
the
He
shit.
answered the question, and down when they put it on, mainstream media, it sounds like, damn, he attacking Cardi, Megan,
I didn't
Nicki.
even look at it like
That's
that.
why. No, but that's what happened.
But that's
Like,
what
if you look at
happened.
the
And that's why he got so much backlash.
But at the same time, how many times did you got to see that to not get that shock value? Because I think, it is
But
shock
no,
value.
it's- no,
Because
no.
the first time when I looked at it, I didn't think of that because I knew you gotta think deeper than that.
But that's
Like,
only
You don't have to
you.
think deeper than that.
you have to because
How he responded was
I
pretty
wouldn't think
basic.
Jermaine Dupri of his caliber
It's not that
would just be honestly saying something like that.
But
Like,
it sounds like me.
He
It's
asked
just perspective. It's a
Understand?
perspective.
He answered
Hold up, hold
a
up.
question.
It's,
What'd you say?
it's just a perspective.
That's all he did was answer a question.
From it's opinions. So
Yeah.
you see it another way, and you see it another way, and you see it a way, and you see it a way.
No, but
It's
people
all.
think he just was
Hold up.
attacking.
Hold up.
No, I just want
But that's what it is. Like everybody. That's what the media does.
Because the media said one way. I want to
That's what
actually
they
give
do.
him a full context, because the media so she can go back to saying like, because she was gonna say it's a full episode. I mean a full interview, and so you were basically speaking on that, like that the fact that the context.
I haven't seen it.
Well,
I don't know what y'all talking about.
No, but you were saying how the media can. No, you were saying how the media
That's
can.
real.
No, I'm just
Like-
saying though, like no, right, but the media, everybody takes everything, from different perspectives.
right.
So that's what it is. Like you see it from your point of view, and you see it from your point of view. Like, but in the end result, like it's all positive.
bottom
what the
line in the
media
music
did was
industry is
hit.
money.
The media pretty much
Right.
started
Well,
a
I mean,
conversation,
And that's what I'm
that-
saying. Like I think these A&Rs and these published, like they push the content. Like it's not really like you gave a great example of like they cut the clip, they pushed it. Jermaine Dupri says this about women instead of just really focusing on the root cause of these A&Rs. This is what's pushing this. They're like, hey, I got somebody from the streets. She real. She this and this.
But, I
she
mean,
talking
A&R's
about
gotta
this.
get
That's
a
what's
clearance.
making money.
A&R has anything to do
Yeah,
with Megan
A&R's
Thee
gotta get a
Stallion. I
clearance.
feel like
It does though.
Yeah, A&R's got
All
to
right,
get clearance.
so we
on that.
say
They just
A&R
can't put anything
independent,
out
like
there.
because independency think that's what sells.
But
You
no,
gotta think,
A&Rs can't just
at
put
this
anything
day and
out there.
at this day and age, though, before A&R gets to you, you kind of already have your sound and marketing.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
So it's like
You
you're
already shopped your demo.
rapping about
You've
the
already
certain-
You have your real following.
Exactly.
You've already shopped your demo.
Right.
You've already
To
got
the
your little
record label.
following.
To the record
And so
label.
they don't really have.
They're not
as
grooming
much-
artists anymore.
Exactly.
No.
So that's
Exactly.
what I was trying to
Absolutely.
get away when you were saying the generation, because it's completely different. It's no grooming. It's you're coming in as ready-made product.
It's
You
not like
just
the
gonna put a little
Quincy
money
Jones
behind
era.
it.
But at the same time, that's the type of generation that we live in. Like them guys, they are 100. Like the positive part, they're independent. They like, I know where I can get this knowledge and be great. You don't have to coach me to be these steps. I can be great. Now we look back and be like, all right, get there. If you fall, we there. But at the same time, it goes in circle. Like we know, like they got their following. They know. I'm sorry, I didn't want to mess up you. But that's I mean, I think they all. I think it all runs in the same, Antoine. That's all I'm saying. Like I think these not newer, but these newer wiser cats aware of the resources that they can make themselves better without signing over their life. Yeah, and whatever they core fans, because they getting an energy from their core fans. Their core fans is like, hey, we like this shit. We like this shit.
But knowledge, but knowledge, you going to something else though.
But he kind of on the point.
I mean, it makes sense.
If Cardi B came out next album trying to be lyrical, going in depth about motherhood, y'all gonna be like, man, I ain't trying to hear this.
She came out.
You know what I'm saying?
She came out
because she didn't come out like that.
But she had a few real songs.
But she came out. She came out and said that shit. She was like, "Look, I've been making all these fucking bangers for years. I made Be Careful. None of y'all like that shit.
Right.
I'm going back to the stuff that made me money."
Exactly. So
that was her response. That was her response. Yeah.
You're a prisoner as an artist to your sound at the point, and so people get mad. Like, take for instance the Migos. People get mad like, man, how much not gonna talk about goddamn ice water?
But that's what I was just saying a while ago.
It's like if they tried to go towards another sound, y'all gonna be like, man, these niggas. It's like you.
Antoine, that's what I was just saying a while ago. A record label, if you're looking for a deal, what's hot, you better rap about what's hot. If you want to do hibbity.
Yeah, you gotta do the pattern. That's patterns.
Unless you go independent.
You have to maintain. No, you have to maintain.
You gotta maintain what you walked into.
What you walked in.
What you sold us with.
See, your brand might not get you in the door.
Right. But this how
your brand might not get you in the door.
No, but Donnie, it ain't about. It's about the fact that look at somebody like an Isaiah Rashad or your backpack rappers. Okay,
and they lyricists.
It's like I signed with a label. The first thing your artist gonna do, don't let them water you down, my boy.
Right.
Don't let them, man, put you in goddamn shiny.
But that's when you got the opportunity to say, do I want to go with the label or do I want to stay with my shit?
But a lot of times,
you have that choice now.
You have that
Freddie
choice.
Gibbs said in the most recent interview on
Breakfast, I seen it though.
He was like, I got kids.
Hey, I
He's like,
to
it's like even
Nipsey said, fuck Jesus.
Rest in peace. Nipsey had a ceiling. Right. Then he was like, I need to partner with an entity. Right. Because at the end of the day, you only can go so far as an independent.
And that's what I'm saying.
Damn, you dropping
jewels. No. You can only go so far as an independent artist, but if you get a buzz as an independent artist, Migos, they independent. I mean, they QC. That shit is independent. That shit is independent. Chance the Rapper independent. TDE is an independent.
Well, let's talk about a new rapper. So
but there are like
QC is just like No Limit and all of them with Interscope.
No Limit was 93%.
No, listen to me. They still have the imprint of a major label on their CD.
But you know why do you know why the only reason that certain rappers sign independent labels? It's for marketing.
It's not very.
It's for promotion.
It's not very.
It's a lot of ways why they sign.
It's for free promotion. Is why.
What I'm saying is on your TV and on your radio. It's
promotion.
Not very
I'm pretty sure we can get advice right now.
Work on
sometimes we don't have to assume if we got primary information.
We're gonna work on letting people finish thoughts.
What?
And so I was just gonna say, like, it's not any true independent artists on your radio or on your music video.
No, yes there are.
Who? Name them.
I ain't gonna say true.
Chance the Rapper came my independent. He signed.
There are a lot of independent artists, bro.
I'm talking about
Big
major
Crit
artists.
Is independent.
He's not
he ain't major
anymore. He got him. He had. You got to think. You have to have a distribution deal with somebody.
Right.
What I'm saying is independent. You back in the day meant I printed the shit up, I put it out myself, I marketed it myself. Now you get a distribution deal because at the end of the day, a reach of.
But you don't even need a record label nowadays. You don't need a record label nowadays.
Donnie, I'm not speaking. I'm not speaking based on the person that's getting the buzz. I'm talking about the people that are in the forefront.
Right. Okay,
because at the end of the day,
I get that.
That's why I'm saying when Freddie Gibbs said I have kids, it's like I have to get to another spectrum,
I do get that.
Another level. And it's like at the end of the day, I still have the key to you getting to the Grammys. True. You know what I'm saying? I still had a key to the Billboard.
I get that part of it.
And so that's why I say it's very hard to remain independent once you get to a certain stratosphere because you start looking at your dollars. Right. Your dollars are getting up, but then you start seeing people putting glass ceilings.
True. And they go and great. That's
I get that.
And that's why I be talking about like capitalism versus culture. And I think as a culture, we have an issue with understanding both. You know what I'm saying? Like example, Dapper Dan interview. I always bring up Kanye. We see Kanye rents. And what he talking about? I need
Kanye.
this amount of money.
Babe.
I need this amount of money to be this amount of great. And I think one thing that we talk about among our culture is to balance the two. And same thing with A&Rs and you saying like curators. Like, what are you gonna balance to make money, which is capitalism, but still be true to your culture?
Well, Adrian, I'm gonna ask you. You LA, you deal with actors.
Like that's something, and I wanted to ask you about that. Like, how
deal with
how do they deal with that? Because them brothers, they are brothers that want to be real, and then the money comes.
Got to
I
water
want
down.
you to be this person.
You deal
I
with
want you to be
actors,
that
actresses, you know, people in the entertainment business, and you know a lot of them front. I got this, I got that, and I know you know better because you deal with a lot of people. So as far as the business side goes. How do you feel as far as like, okay, I got this person who, okay, I've been on TV before and I got this, I got that, or whatever. Behind the closed doors, I mean, if you see anything behind closed doors, I don't know if you do or I don't know if you don't, but if you see anything behind closed doors as far as like, you know, the money goes, the business side goes, the independent goes, what's your feedback on, you know, what we're talking about as far as the independent, the money, you know, can I do this or do I have to ask for this agent, you know, permission or do this or whatever?
Do I have to put myself at an inconvenience?
Absolutely.
My client is totally different. So he is definitely the exception and not the norm. He's been very what's the word? He does his own thing and people respect that.
He's very humble.
Very humble. He does not. I mean, he drives a Prius. Like,
but he has an agent and stuff that does.
Yeah, he's got agents. He signed. He's with CAA.
Money drive Priuses.
He's funny.
He signed to CAA, which is a huge. It's one of the the big
that's
three.
the
It's
one.
one of the big three. Yeah, and but yeah, he's been in the same apartment for the last 6-7 years grinding. Yeah, I mean But what people don't understand about the industry is that they see, like I saw what he made per episode for his last, network sitcom. It looks like a lot of money when you look at it. Like he could pay me with one episode and I would be straight. But what you don't understand is that the agents get, their percentage and the managers get their percentage and you got the lawyers and
Uncle Sam,
and then, SAG dues are like, a shit. It's just a lot. It's a lot. And so what I can appreciate about him is that he has not gotten ahead of himself in terms of I'm going to go and buy this house and I'm going to, he's chilling until it's like really, until it really,
because he'll be putting the pressure on his career.
But what I will say about him is he does not let someone else tell him. He has a very clear vision of what his career is going to be, and he sticks with that.
He doesn't
does
hear
not
anybody.
let someone else
And
deter him.
I like your client. I think he got a good avenue because I've been seeing a lot of stuff on Showtime. So like they do a good let me say this. Not seeing a lot of stuff. His rollout, his most recent on show, like came with the comedy, and then he came with It's a Party, and they like, hey, if you don't know this comedian, let me give you a lot more. I like that rollout. I think he can do a lot more with Netflix, but it's interesting that you look at it from that perspective, like the SAG, like the SAG, like the SAG Awards, on how you got to get a lot of their approval to move forward. Like I got a brother that's acting in Chicago that like right now, because they doing a lot of stuff in Chicago. You gotta go through the SAG. So like
you
briefly,
have a rate.
like what do you have to do to be approved from the SAG and move forward?
Well, you have to do so many hours of project work
Regardless
to
of what it
even
is.
become a member of SAG-AFTRA, and then it's really expensive. I think the dues every 6 months are like, I think over the year it's like $4,000 or something like that.
But
like,
that give you credibility to the more.
You get a different rate. So there's union and non-union rates when you get booked for a project. So that's what the difference is. But,
but if you union, it's kind of like being in a certain class and.
Right.
Yeah, same thing on any other ecosystem.
It speaks to how much experience it's like being certified.
Yeah,
That's
being certified. It's just a
works.
similar ecosystem that you're gonna be in. that makes the SAG. So, and then that's why it's important to get a SAG award and an Emmy.
Well, what's great about a SAG award is that's
your peers.
That's your peers. It's not a panel. It's not a board.
Yeah,
it is your peers voting on your work. Yeah.
Okay.
And so this is a little insight on the
outro. Hey,
the granular
hold on.
perspective of
Source, I thought we were gonna have the outro on there. You know your personal story, Pops or something. He texted us earlier this week talking about he had a story about Pops.
Oh,
I mean, we got to go out on that, man.
Are you gonna cry?
No.
He better not.
So
if he cry, Ashley, I'm gonna light
He
it.
still compete. Now, real talk, word is he still compete.
He know he
with
better
his
not
pop.
cry in front of me.
Hey, his pop don't stop.
He better not cry in front of me.
No,
Y'all gotta stop spreading this
Ashley,
toxic masculinity. It is okay to express your feelings and emotions.
I'll break it brief because we gotta get out of here.
Say it louder.
I'll make it brief because we gotta get out of here.
Yeah, that's why I got on the segues into it.
I appreciate you. So
no doubt,
I had a conversation with my dad about for the first time in a couple of years about 4 months ago.
Biological.
Okay. Me and him had a rocky relationship on and off. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's more. I'm big on consistency, and inconsistency was his thing. And so I'm as a grown up, you don't really know. He had me at 17, so I'm a grown ass man, but he doesn't know how to really address me and deal with me as a grown up. So it's like an awkwardness when we talk. It's like
I had my daughter at 17. I know,
but you were involved, so it's like you don't have that credibility as a parent. So it's like we ain't cool, but I can't come at you.
I gotta respect you. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I respect you. Yeah.
My dad was coming out here about 2 weeks ago. He texted me late, like called me, matter of fact, and was like, "Hey man, I'm coming at the man. Quit ignoring me."
He texted you.
He called me first, but it was like 11:30 at night. Then he texted me saying, "Quit ignoring me." And so I was pretty much just like, I'm not ignoring you, but it's just like I had no problem with seeing him. It's just I feel like the fact that I can go without dealing with you and nothing kind of like. There's no impediment in my life. Like, you know how when you haven't spoken to somebody like your mom, your grandmother, your aunt or something like that, you feel like, oh, let me check on them. I don't get that. And so I kind of felt like, am I wrong? You know what I mean? Like in a way, because I don't have that bit of me that says like, that's your dad. Like I acknowledge him as my dad, but it's like, I felt like at that point I was upset. The reason I was upset because he felt like I was the one that was in the wrong. It's like you call me every 3-4 months. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
It's like
he felt like you needed to jump when
exactly. It's like
jump at the opportunity to see him when you're like
I haven't laid eyes on you in years. You know what I'm saying?
Earned that.
Like it's so, and that's just really what it is. It's just I wanted because that was on my mind that morning when we talked because I was like the goal.
And man. I ain't mean to, but Antoine, you said something earlier that it's something that we gonna never ever bridge this gap. And I've been talking about millennials and the older generations how we bridge.
It ain't got nothing to do with the gap.
No, it ain't no
really
gap.
Don't.
But no, it ain't got nothing to do with the gap. But you said something where you was like, they already think how they are. They were struggling. They was distant. Like, do you know their generation before your father? Listen to me. Do you know their father? Do you know my grandmother right now? They consider my grandmother as a silent generation. And do you know she really act like that?
My dad ain't that old.
I talked to her. No, not her. No, that's my grandmother.
Right, man,
my mother.
Generation before.
No,
what I'm saying?
What I'm getting at is my mother.
How old is your grandmother?
My grandmother is 87.
We're going somewhere.
87. She's silent. She like, well, just let God handle it. You know, that's her strategy.
Right.
My mother.
That's my mom.
My mother's more radical. She like, I'm stubborn. I'm gonna do this, but I don't know how to talk to nobody. Yeah. Like my mother is like one of the smartest. Like you see me, my mother's the same person, but she never understood how to work in a collaborative environment. She know how to vet her feelings. This and this.
Plain and simple, bro. It's just like we're not gonna make this a deep conversation.
Is it
all it is you missed the boat. with basically my development, and now you come in at the tail end of it.
And don't know how
But
to
is that healthy?
Source.
Mentally,
I got the same
let me ask this.
relationship with
Like,
my
my
dad.
question
I got the
is,
same relationship with
no,
my dad, bro.
is mentally, is that healthy to you?
I mean, I'm not losing sleep.
I mean,
It's not gonna
wait,
hit
hold
him.
on, wait,
Let me
wait,
tell
hold
you
on,
when
hold
it's
on,
gonna
hold
hit
on,
you.
wait, wait.
'Cause
when I have kids.
I don't mean to
No,
cut nobody
let me
off,
tell you.
but I got the same story Source got, and we've talked about this.
Is it healthy?
Our
to you?
mothers raised us, and we love the shit out of our mothers. Now, my dad came in at the ass end like his dad did.
Yeah.
My dad's still living, and I try to build a relationship because my mom. One thing my mom did was no matter how bad my dad did her, beat her,
She didn't
cheated
talk about
on her,
him.
she never talked bad about
Right.
my
Yep.
dad.
Right.
She let me
love
grow
your
up and
mama.
realize that he wasn't shit.
My mom was the one that pushed me to talk to him.
Now I
Like,
will
Dad's
say
gonna
my
do shit.
dad spoils the shit out of because I'm my dad's only child, so he spoils the shit out of my kids. Now
Because that's
cool.
where they come in and try to make up for it.
So my dad did a lot of fucked up shit whenever he was young, but he was 19 when I was born. My mom was 17. Oh no, my mom was 19. My dad was 20. So they were young. I give them the benefit of the doubt, whatever. Woo. But I will say this: my mom never said hate your dad, and I don't hate my dad. He never gave a shit.
I don't hate him either.
He never seen me play no sports. He never taught. I had to teach myself how to be a man, and I bumped my head a whole lot of times, on the way. But I don't hate my dad.
And so to go off piggyback before,
And that's why I'm saying, Antoine, Antoine, like you were saying in your story, I don't hate my dad. Now, I did have hatred for him, on some certain shit.
yeah.
But now I'm like, I can't
asked
hate
both
my
of you
dad.
guys.
I
I
can't.
asked both of you guys,
What was
are
your-
y'all healthy?
I just
Yeah,
told you
I'm
I'm
healthy.
good.
Yeah, I'm good.
So let me
And
tell
I love
you.
my dad. Nigga, I just talked to my dad earlier. I love
Wow.
my dad.
I'm going through a situation similar, being the supportive friend to someone that their dad, they were raised by someone else, their stepdad. Their dad was still living. Their dad lived in a different state, definitely within driving distance, but they never had a relationship. The dad fell terminally ill. Okay? He reached out to said individual, and this is a guy. This is one of my friends, and was talking to him all the time, calling, trying to entertain conversations and things of that nature. Well, he falls terminally ill. Like, he needs to go into hospice, like he's about to die. And he doesn't die. So some time goes by. They're having conversations. They'll text here and there. They'll talk on the phone. He dies suddenly. So it's different when you're expecting a person to die in, 6 weeks or whatever, and then they get better because, older people always say God has the last say.
Power and prayer. Power
Well,
and
I
prayer.
get
And
to-
prayer, but he dies suddenly. So my friend goes through the motions of having to go bury him, get the belongings that were allotted to him or whatever, and he comes back here and he's going through the motions. You going to work, you doing everything that you do every day. Father's Day comes around, so I call him and I'm like, hey, because I'm really sentimental about stuff like that. I'm like, hey, I know, your dad just passed. Are you doing okay today? And he's like, oh, I'm good. Just another day. You know, I'm not impacted. Blah blah blah.
Right.
So the way he turned me off, it was really snappy. He was not his normal self. So I'm like, okay, yeah, you need to talk to somebody, but I'm not gonna press it because you don't even understand that you're really not.
Right.
You're going through motions, but you're not
It's a
dealing
coping
with it.
mechanism.
It's
Absolutely.
definitely
Exactly.
So a couple days go by and he reaches out to me because I didn't like the way he turned me off. So I'm stubborn. I ain't gonna call you back. I'm gonna let you have your little bitch
Man, I'm a
fit
Leo. I know how stubborn
and
it is.
go on about your business.
Right.
Because I was being a good friend by checking on you.
Yeah.
He calls and he's like, damn, I just received a letter from wherever it was that his dad, I don't know if it was dialysis or a cancer institute or whatever. And he's like, that's when it hit me. My dad is really gone. And he never got a chance to have that dad type relationship with him. And now it's too late. and you haven't even gone through the whole grieving, coping.
I'm going through the same exact thing.
So that's when it hits
the same exact
It's not
thing.
gonna hit you when you.
My
have
dad is in
kids.
hospice. My dad is in hospice. I'm adopted. I'll meet my birth dad in a couple of weeks. I've never met him.
Really?
Wow. Yes.
For real?
I meet him, and it is what it is.
But no, that's dope.
Once
though. That's
again,
dope. That's dope.
Because we come from trauma.
Right,
Us being African American, we come from trauma.
Right.
So we learn how to deal with it, or we learn how to cope, or we learn how to ignore it, or we don't talk about it.
More so ignore it and don't
Right,
talk
but it's
about
all
it,
trauma. It all comes up to trauma. So I get to meet my birth dad in a couple of weeks, and everybody's like, "Oh, how you feel?" It is what it is. I mean, he was 15. My birth mother was 15. I met her 2017, and I haven't talked to her since. She's very much still homeless. She's very much still a part of the street. And I appreciate her for giving me up for adoption. I appreciate her for putting me in that orphanage where my mom and dad
Everything happened for a reason.
Right. But my dad is in hospice, my adopted dad, and he was alcoholic. Like, we had trauma. Like, like he did shit that was horrible in my upbringing, but it was what it was. And like, he can't talk. His organs are failing. But, like, I wish we would have had that same type of relationship, but I pray for him, and I let it be what it be. And we continue to get stronger, and we just teach our kids, even like that's their grandfather, which they never knew, right? Because he was an alcoholic, and then he fell, and like he got dementia, and he's now in hospice today. So it's just something that we go through, and something that we make us stronger, and it builds us who we are today. So your friend is gonna be cool.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And that's real shit.
Like,
That's
because
real.
now
that's
we know
real
that
shit.
we need to talk about it.
Your
and
friend,
so,
right?
And so the whole
We gotta put it out there.
And I
Yeah,
guess
you
my
gotta
initial
talk.
my
Right.
initial question was that's why I was like, how do you guys feel? Does it when you say, like, Antoine, you was like, it doesn't matter to me. Is it something that you brushing?
really-
Because
is that really
I
the
literally
Well-
Right.
I literally told my dad at 7 years old, I told him, he said, I'll be back. I looked him dead in the eye and said, yeah, right. And he died. Like, that was my last words to him.
Well, I mean, I know.
So for you guys,
I know we
like,
gotta wrap
and
it up.
And
I know we
really
gotta wrap it up,
numb.
but
I'm numb just like you guys with it. Like, it
But
is
before,
what it is.
before
I know we
go
gotta
out,
wrap
'cause
it
I
up,
wanted
but
to
it's-
speak before we go out, what this basically stems and what the show's going around is there's a lot of hidden trauma
Yes.
in the relationships within our
Oh,
family.
yeah,
and
no
our
doubt, no
households.
doubt.
within our
And,
culture.
in our
There-
culture.
Yeah, there you go.
For sure.
Because the thing
Culture.
is, a lot of times we've been able to be able to deal with adverse situations so well, we kind of mask the true tragedy.
And that's why it's so
and
important, man.
issues. So,
Man, we have to go we gotta seek.
You have to talk.
We gotta go.
Yeah.
Mental therapy is.
you got to work on yourself
is-
from a mental
It's
perspective.
huge, man.
I'm glad that's an
A
initiative.
lot of
We're
us
pushing
don't.
more these days.
A lot of us don't want to do it, but mental
do it.
health,
There's nothing
man,
wrong with it.
Just go
There's
have a
nothing wrong
conversation.
Go do it. At least
Just go have a
once.
conver-
At least once.
At least once.
To probably
I done
see what-
Absolutely.
been like 6 times, y'all.
And there's nothing
Like,
wrong.
ain't
You go and you get
But
an
no.
unbiased. You get an unbiased opinion.
But at least once, like Source said, at least once.
So-
Try it at least once.
But before we get out of here,
Thanks to the ladies for coming through with
I
y'all
was just gonna
sexy
say that. I want to
ass.
say thanks
Appreciate
for
Smelling
coming
good?
in here and pretty much popping the top on the brand new location for us. That's
It's dope.
Y'all know how to get here now.
Super
So,
dope.
But I mean, y'all family, y'all ain't guessing no more.
Yeah,
Shit.
we
I'm
a
a
little
guest.
more comfortable in
You
here.
ain't no
So
fucking guess. Ashley, you ain't no
I
guess.
just want
Listen, I'll
to
mess
say
around, come
thank
back
you
next
again.
Friday.
Eb, you ain't no guess. Adrian, you ain't no
'Cause she
guess.
don't
Hey, this
No
really was a
earthquakes.
pop up. I really didn't think,
Shout out to our I miss it, compadre.
Flimarachi.
You know,
But the
he-
motherfuckers
like
don't
I
give me
said-
no shot when I'm missing though, but I ain't gonna trip though.
Nigga, we did last 2 times you
I
was
ain't gonna
gone,
trip.
bro.
But why did I just realize that somebody was missing? And I because he's so quiet. He's
laid back.
so
He
quiet.
He would have hit you with
Flim-
one ball before we left.
But say,
but I don't agree with none
but
of
when
y'all
you do
talking
wake
about.
Flim up,
Like, he
but
would've
when you
told
do
you
wake
straight
him
up.
up, Flim gonna give you.
On the daddy situation, he's like, man, me and my daddy have like 2 words, and I see my daddy all the time. He don't even speak to me that much.
So like we go get out
Hey,
of
what
here.
we going out on, man? Hey, give
And,
me that addiction. Big Crit. Can I get the Big Crit edition?
Yeah, we in a real Big Crit.
Like,
You know,
we
Big
didn't even
Crit
talk
just
about
dropped.
Crit.
We came in on Big Crit. Give me the Big Crit edition.
The Big
word
Crit
is you
in
don't
Dreamville.
I
You
felt
the
like
person
Big.
that
I
loved
felt like Big Crit. You know, he took some risk on this one. You know what I'm saying?
And say, guess what he said he did? I only produced 2 songs on this album.
no, he
Because you
had
know, normally Big Crit produce all his beats.
No, he had to.
But this
so,
fucking album is
you know,
dope.
Justin actually, you know,
Nigga,
he's like,
this
I'm gonna
her
go
I am
outside
is
the
dope.
box and trust some other producers. You know, that's a
Adrian,
big thing.
you gotta come back. Eb, Ashley, I know y'all here, so y'all
next
gonna
Friday.
y'all.
Well,
family.
God dang it, you know, like
Can we talk about-
You know my birthday next month. You know my birthday on the 8th.
You
You've already told
I mean,
us.
I'm gonna be out of town,
Hey, we can do a part 2 because we really didn't get on script, so we can do a part 2.
we always, but I feel like we had a lot of good dope
but
content.
we did for the first show.
and because so that's why you know.
And all this goddamn Jameson.
This
Don't
episode,
Shout out to Ashley.
That's all I drink. I'm sorry. He told me to bring some bottles.
Yo, I'm with it over
Sorry.
here.
Hey, Jameson
My
is
favorite
real
night
with
of the week.
culture
I need
right
somebody
now.
to drive my
It's my
car.
favorite.
So we
Where
about
we
to
going
get out of
with
here.
Lever?
I thought we was getting drinks.
No, we about to get out of here. We get out of here.
We about to turn
We sorry.
Addiction. Can we get addiction?
So I want to thank y'all again for
No
fucking
doubt.
with us. You know, episode 49.
Dive in.
We gonna be
Thank
back
you.
next
Let
week.
them know who he is.
We ain't gonna be running this. Your boy Antoine the Sword.
DJ D-Boy Fresh, the charming asshole.
Man, what's up, Nah? Man, it's knowledge, man. Just keep it cheap.